guys, it's Trina, and today I am doing a spoiler-free series review for the Lion Game series by Sara Shepard. As you can see, this is a 6-book series, and the books in order are The Lion Game, Never Have I Ever, Two Truths and a Lie, Hide and Seek, Cross My Heart, Hope to Die, and 7 Minutes in Heaven. Okay, can you like not glare at me? Thank you. This is probably the most talked about, or one of the most talked about series on my channel. It was one of my reading goals this year to actually finish this series. So I have been making my way through the end of this series, and they've been popping up in a lot of my TBRs and wrap-ups and just casual mentions. So I thought it would be really appropriate to do a series review since I'm talking about them a lot, and also because not many other people are really talking about them, at least not that I see. It definitely is kind of overshadowed by Sara Shepard's Pretty Little Liars series, with good reason, because that series has a TV show and has like 16 books in it. But this is a normal sized series with just 6 books. Once again, this review is going to have a few different parts. I will start with a summary, and then I will give some recommendations of who I think might like this series, and then I will give you my rating and just a more in-depth review, remaining spoiler free since this is a series and since I do want you to read it. But if you have already read it, we can definitely chat down below about more specific things if you would like to. I'm going to try to summarize it quickly because it's a little bit crazy, but this is a YA mystery series that I would pretty much classify as mainly contemporary, although there is a very slight supernatural element to it because it's actually narrated by a ghost, but there's not a lot of other supernatural things happening. I would just call it contemporary and let that be it. We have 2 twins, Emma and Sutton, who were separated at birth, and Sutton happens to be adopted into a very well-off family. She's a rich, snobby girl, very popular, basically has everything she could want in life, all the boys, all the friends, whereas Emma was kind of jostled through the foster care system and doesn't have a really good steady home life, doesn't fit in anywhere, doesn't have very many friends at all. And like I said, these 2 girls never knew that they had a twin, but one day Emma finds a YouTube video of a girl that looks just like her, but it's not her. So who is it? And she reaches out to the girl and she's like, I think that we're twins, or at least related. We need to meet up. So the 2 girls decide that they are going to meet up, but when Emma gets there, Sutton never shows. And eventually, some of Sutton's friends kind of pass by and they mistake Emma for Sutton. And as much as Emma tries to protest and say, guys, I'm not Sutton, I'm her twin, nobody believes her because Sutton was a huge jokester. They had this whole group called The Lion Game, where the group of friends would just prank each other constantly. They really think Emma is Sutton, and pretty soon Emma gets an anonymous note from somebody saying, I killed Sutton and you better take her place so no one figures it out or else you're next. So she kind of finds herself forced into taking over Sutton's life and trying to pretend to be her, and she does this because she actually wants to figure out who killed Sutton. And the thing I mentioned earlier about the narrator, these books are actually narrated by Sutton from beyond the grave. So the series starts off when Sutton's ghost realizes that she's dead and she is suddenly attached to Emma and trying to help her solve her own murder because Sutton as a ghost doesn't even remember how she died. It just really feels like a regular third-person point of view, but every once in a while we get some chapters that cut in where Sutton has remembered something that happened to her the night that she died. So slowly throughout the series, Sutton and Emma are both putting the pieces together. I think that you would like this series if you like any type of YA mystery, specifically murder mysteries. I love those, and these books are like a perfectly traditional example of a murder mystery. Honestly, it's a big ol' whodunit. I do think that if you like her Pretty Little Liars series, that you would probably find The Lion Game just as enjoyable, if not even more, because I actually enjoyed it more. And also, if you're looking for just like a quick, fun, summery beach read, these books might fit that bill because they are pretty quick to get through. I think that it might be a good series to binge read because they are so quick and it does cycle through a bunch of suspects pretty quickly, but each book does kind of recap some of the events that happened in the previous books. I never mind that. It helps me to be aware of what I should have been paying attention to, but if you're binge reading them all back to back, that might get annoying quickly. I know a lot of people don't like that about series, and it doesn't do it excessively, but it is a nice refresher if you took a few months off between books. And I do think that they could be binge read if that is something that you're interested in, if you're looking for an entire series to move through pretty quickly. Now, these books are set in high school, and the main friend group is definitely a group of mean girls, but Emma is actually a really kind-hearted character, and she's trying to bring like some just goodness into Sutton's old group of friends and get them to realize that how they treat people isn't really the best thing. So she definitely balances out that whole Mean Girls vibe or feeling, if that's a kind of a group clique that you don't enjoy reading about. There is a bit of romance in the series, of course, because it's about teenage girls, and one of the themes that I like the most is just the theme of family and like how messy families can be, because obviously there is the two twins that never knew each other existed. They had a biological mom, then there's the adoptive family, the foster family, and there definitely are parents, active and involved parents in this series, and they interact with our main character quite a bit. You know, I'm not saying that they're like a shining model of great parenting in YA books, but it's better than most. The one thing that I will say that kind of had me wary about the series is that since this is a very traditional murder mystery set up where everybody is a suspect, I felt like each book would start to examine one character. I really was afraid that that was what every single book in the series was going to do. Focus on one character and then clear their name, focus on another character, clear their name, and none of those people would actually be it. But I actually was afraid of that happening, but didn't actually see that happen. I mean, it happens to some extent because you are having to kind of cross names off of your list of suspects, but I didn't feel like it was super repetitive though, especially in the last few books as the series is coming to a close. You've got a lot of new information being dropped, and I do think that some of the suspects kind of cycle back around. Like, she might have crossed their names off earlier on in the series, but then a new piece of information comes to light later on and they're back under the magnifying glass. So, you know, I did think that it still kept me on my toes the whole way through. Overall, I would give the series as a whole a solid 4-star rating. I gave most of the books 4 stars. I gave the second book, Never Have I Ever, 3 stars, and I don't remember why that was because it's one of the books I read like 4 or 5 years ago, so I can't remember my specific thoughts about that one. But the last book, 7 Minutes in Heaven, I gave it 5 stars. I really thought that it blew me away. It did surprise me, and it took me through a lot of different emotions, including sheer terror. Like, I honestly felt afraid for my life at one point, and it was great to see how Sara Shepard wraps up her mysteries because she's got 4 different series out, and The Lion Game was the very first series that she finished, and I know Pretty Little Liars is complete now, but I haven't finished that series myself, so I had no idea really what to expect with how she was going to wrap up her mysteries, and I thoroughly enjoyed how she did it. The pacing of that last book was just exactly what I wanted out of a conclusion to a mystery series. I have read all of the other mysteries by Sara Shepard, and this is the only one that I finished, but even back when I was on like book 4 in this series, I could kind of feel it at that point in time that this is my favorite of her series. I hope that you enjoyed this review and that maybe I've made you want to pick up this series and give it a try. If you have read it, let me know what you thought about it down below. Let's talk about it. Or if you do want to check it out, let me know that too. Or if there's something that I didn't touch on that you would like to know, please don't hesitate to ask me a question down below and I will do my best to answer it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the comments. Bye!